Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Wild Rift 4.0 patch notes. It's finally time. It's been a long time coming now since the last patch notes got released and the last patch cycle really for Wild Rift, which was before Christmas and before the Riot Christmas break. But now we're here for Wild Rift patch 4.0. We got a new year, which means a new cycle of patches. So I'm really excited for this year to see what new things they're going to bring. Obviously 4.0 doesn't mean it's going to be a big patch, but it is quite a big patch with a lot of interesting changes. So if you're excited for the new patch, make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you like the video as well, because I'll be doing a lot of content around the new patch 4.0. So let's head straight into it. So happy Lunar New Year. It's going to be Lunar New Year as well, so they're going to do a bunch of events on Lunar New Year. This is just kind of a broad statement of what the patch is going to be about, which obviously we don't really need to read that too much because we're going to be reading through the patch notes itself. I want to wish you a happy Lunar New Year again. Hope 23 is a great year. Blah, 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 blah. I don't think there's anything to read here. Right, new. We have Zoe. So it looks, so Zoe is going to be released basically midnight tonight, which is well, midnight tonight when this video gets released. I'm recording this video a day before, but midnight tonight that this video releases, that is when Zoe will be released. So I'll be doing a full guide of Zoe when she releases, which is going to be very, very exciting. I think Zoe is going to be a very, very interesting, a very, very fun champion to play, especially with how she looked as well in the patch preview. She actually looked quite cool. She actually looks quite playable, I should say, on mobile, because I was a bit worried about Zoe on mobile because obviously she's quite an interesting champion where you have to use your first ability behind you to then use it forward again. But I feel like they've done the controls quite well, so we have to see when we get into the game for Zoe to see what it's like. We have the new wild pass, which is going to have the super villain Graves, which we already know about, which is also going to be at midnight tonight as well. We also have the new rank season, and we actually have the date for the new rank season as well, which is going to start at on the 16th of January, which is only about, what, it's under a week away really. 16th of January is basically like 5 days away, 4, 5, 6 days away, around about that time. So yeah, expected about a week after the patch launches. Normally that's when the rank season is going to be. So January 16th at 7 p.m. PST, which I'm not actually too sure what time that's actually going to be for the UK. Maybe I have to quickly check. Let me quickly check. 7 p.m. PST to what even times are we in? GMT? I'm pretty sure GMT is British time, right? I've lost time zones completely. 7 p.m. what is it? PST is it's 5 p. What is 3 p.m.? Oh wait, oh, is that 8 a.m.? Oh no, that's a.m., isn't it? Okay, hold on. So PST, we're looking at 7 p.m. PST, which is 3 a.m. UK time, the day after. So it's actually going to be on the 17th. So it's basically on the Tuesday. So if you're in EU, then this is basically the day after. So it'll be on the 17th and it will start at 3 a.m. UK time. So for NA, it's the day before, because obviously time zones. And for UK, it'll be the day after at 3 a.m. So Wednesday. So it will be Wednesday, won't it? Oh no, it'll be Tuesday. So Tuesday, 17th of January will be when the new rank season will start. So rank reset is going to be normal. Everything's going to be kind of normal. You're basically, if you're Grandmaster, you're going down to Emerald, etc, etc. So we're gonna have to grind up and see what we can do with the new rank season. Role leaderboards and role scores. I think this is all going to be reset, if I'm not mistaken. And now they've got a role leaderboard now, which is like dual lane, top lane, mid lane, and all that sort of stuff. Cool little addition. I'm not really too keen about it, to be fair. It's just kind of like whatever in a way. It's like more score leaderboards. I mean, I like the champion score leaderboards. I think that's really cool. I think role leaderboards are a bit too overboard in my opinion. I don't think role leaderboards are really kind of add up to like how good you are at the role, basically. Because there's many reasons you could be good at the role. You know, role leaderboard, I don't think makes you, like, if you're top on a role leaderboard, I don't think that makes you the best mid laner in the entire server. You know, I think there's lots of different ways that you can put in terms of like how good you are at the role, how many champions you play, you know, competitive and all that sort of thing as well. But it's still a cool thing they've added. Xbox Game Pass and login. You can now log in with your Xbox account, which is kind of cool. And if you link your Xbox account to Riot, then you'll receive all Wild Rift champions and unlock the 20% XP boost, which is pretty cool. ETC device updates. When 5.0 launches, will be an appreciation of support for older devices that use the ETC text format. This affects you will receive a notification and email from us. Okay, cool. I don't really know what that is. If you know what that is, then please let me know. All Random Earth is coming back as well. This is mainly for like Lunar New Year, to celebrate Lunar New Year. They've got the rotating game modes. It's cool that they're actually doing rotating game modes actually quite frequently in Wild Rift, because in PC League it doesn't happen this frequently. But I feel like every single time they do a unique game mode, they've always got something new coming on the horizon. It looks like there's a theme now where All Random Earth is normally around Lunar New Year, so normally around this time of year. Then you have normal Earth as well. So it's very, very interesting to see how they rotate game modes, but it makes the game more fun. I mean, I quite like All Random, Ultra Rapid Fire, or just Earth in general. I think there are some nice, interesting game modes. Execute Smite, do not worry about this. This is only for All Random, Ultra Rapid Fire. I'm not going to read through this too much. This is just a thing for All Random Earth, so don't be afraid that this is going to happen to normal Wild Rift as well. I mean, if they do, then this pretty much puts the skill ceiling down to basically 0. I mean, I don't know how you just win Smite fights or lose Smite fights with Execute Smite now, which is really, really weird. But yeah, don't worry about this. This is only for Ultra Rapid Fire, Ultra Rapid Earth. If you want to read it, pause the video and you can give it a quick read. But we will be carrying on. Begins on January the 12th. More Gacha. Mythmaker Workshop. It's time to get crafty in the lunar paper cutting workshop with Caitlyn. So this is to get the Caitlyn skin, if I'm not mistaken, the limited edition Caitlyn skin. Get your scissors ready to snip and unfold. Caitlyn earns skins, rewards, and other goodies. In Mythmaker Workshop, you'll be able to buy scissors for 400 wild cores, convert them to paper cuttings, and redeem items with your paper cuttings. Okay, so you get paper cuttings, and then you have to then get so you're buying 400. So you're paying 400 wild cores for paper cuttings, but then the paper cuttings then get converted into boxes. Wait a second. One of the skins you can earn from special edition, you'll be able to earn by opening 15 boxes or by earning 92. Okay. But also use your lunar paper cuttings to redeem your following world. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I get what this means now. So basically, when you open 15 boxes or when you earn 92 lunar paper cuttings, you basically guaranteed to unlock the skin or the limited edition skin, which I think is good, which is what I liked before with the Supercells one, is that you're guaranteed to get the skin after a certain amount of loot boxes. I mean, 15 loot boxes is a lot to open anyway. Like, that's like, I don't want to work out how much that is. That's like 6,000 wild cores, 5,000, 6,000 wild cores. I mean, it is limited edition. It is a special edition skin. So it kind of doesn't surprise me at the same time. But to be honest, if you open one box and have the 0.5% chance to get these 92 lunar paper cuttings, then you unlock the skin straight away. So there is a chance to get it before 15 boxes. But I like how it's guaranteed to get after 15 boxes if you don't get it beforehand, which is quite nice. And then I'm not too sure if this gets rid of the 92 lunar paper cuttings, or you can also spend this as well. I think what would be really cool is that you unlock the skin straight away, but you get to keep the lunar paper cuttings. That means you can get, you know, the firecracker skins. Radiant Wukong is here as well. 5,000 Poro energy. That's quite a lot, actually. 5,000 Poro energy is quite a lot. Skin border poses, more poses, high tier pose, recall borders, all this sort of stuff, emotes and all that sort of stuff and everything. I mean, all of this stuff is, you know, kind of standard really now, what we kind of expect. But hey, we'll be live January 12th, which is actually the day of the patch. Okay. Wait, is that? Yeah, that's the day of the patch, isn't it? The day of the patch is the 12th, because that's when. So we got Zoe coming out. We got the Wild Pass coming out. And then we also have the loot boxes also coming out as well. Everything's coming out at once. I mean, normally this is a little bit delayed, but everything is coming out at once. Okay, there's going to be a lot of content coming out, chat. There's gonna be a lot of content. I'm saying chat like it's I'm streaming. I'm not actually streaming right now. I'm recording. Anyway, and then we also have the Lunar New Year event as well. Cool, I guess. I mean, I'm not complaining. A lot of content. I can't complain at all. A lot of content is always great. But yeah, there we go. Love to see it. A lot of content. Right. Okay. This is the important part. I've jabbered on for 10 minutes about random stuff that most people don't care about, but I know some people care about it, so I like to read through it and kind of give my opinion. I mean, I don't like gacha, but I don't mind the gacha. I think it's okay. Like, I've seen worse. All right. Holy guacamole. Champion changes, and the first one's Camille, and it's a complete rework. A complete rework of Camille. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Okay. Precision Protocol, new. After 1.6 seconds of the first empowered attack, Precision Protocol automatically empowers another basic attack, converting the bonus damage to true damage. So the bonus movement speed has gone, 25%, so it's a buff in the early game, but then a nerf in the later stages. And the bonus movement speed duration has gone from 1 second down to 1.5 seconds. So new, this basically means that I guess they're not removing the previous one from Camille as well, because Camille's ability at the moment is like you use your first ability and then it empowers your next attack. So after 1.6 seconds of the first empowered attack, so you don't actually need to. Okay, so this basically means that the way that I'm reading it is that this basically means that you cannot reactivate the ability now. So now it's after 1.6 seconds of the first empowered attack. I'm not too sure if this means you can still reactivate the ability, because in this patch notes there's no removed section, because obviously Camille was like empowers the next attack to deal damage and grant movement speed. And then obviously, like, if you use you can use your first ability straight after using your first using it the first time. So you have the first proc and the second proc. When you use it the first time and then you wait 1.5 seconds, then you can use it a second time to do bonus damage, but you can use the ability beforehand to basically push the lane or deal a little bit of extra damage. But now it says after 1.6 seconds of the first empowered attack, Precision Protocol automatically empowers another basic attack. So it automatically empowers the next basic attack as well. So this makes you feel like they've got rid of the whole using the first ability and then using it again. So you just use it once and then you have to wait 1.5 seconds and then you have to auto attack afterwards, because it automatically empowers the next basic attack, which is interesting. Very, very interesting. So I think this has got rid of the whole double activating now on the first ability. I think it's quite interesting. But again, we'll have to go into the actual game and test it out to see what that is, because it's not very clear on what they're actually removing and everything. Tactical Sweep, new. So Camille's bonus damage now applies to the entire area of effect instead of just the outer half. Okay, that's pretty good. Dealing bonus damage and plus bonus AD. An additional percentage of the target's maximum health is physical damage if you do sweet spot the outer half of the cone. However, enemies are slowed by 80% for 2 seconds, and Camille heals for 50% of the damage down. Okay, so the interesting things about this one is that the bonus damage now applies to all areas of Camille's second ability. So even if you hit the inner half or the outer half, you're still going to deal the bonus damage, which is interesting. But now you deal additional percentage of the target's maximum health as physical damage if you do hit the sweet spot on the outer half. So this is a huge buff to Tactical Sweep. Like, it's a massive buff to Tactical Sweep, because before it was just like damage, and then if you hit them on the outer half, then you deal basically even more damage. But now you deal that bonus damage at all parts, and you also get to do additional damage if you hit them on a sweet spot. Enemies are slowed by 80% for 2 seconds. Okay, so it was 80% for 2 seconds. I'm just giving this to see how it is. Okay, so Camille doesn't heal as much. So Camille before healed for 100% of bonus damage dealt to champions, but now Camille only heals 50% of damage champions. So a lot more sustain, but more damage. And the slow percentage is still the same for The same duration. Okay, so the slower stayed exactly the same. The healing has been reduced by 50%, but the damage has been increased by a lot. So these are very, very interesting changes. I mean, this is going to make Camille so frustrating in the laning phase. Like, this will be really, really annoying. Like, insanely annoying for Camille. For anyone playing against Camille. All right, hook shot as well. My God, they're changing everything for Camille. Okay, new. If Camille misses the initial cast of hook shot, it is placed on a 3-second cooldown instead of a full cooldown. Okay. Recast. Camille just detaches from the terrain and dashes in the target direction, doing physical damage to nearby enemies now on arrival. If she hits an enemy champion, she stuns them for 0.5 seconds and gains bonus attack speed for 5 seconds. Hold on a second. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, so you're now not punished as much for missing hook shot, because the initial cooldown is only going to be on 3 seconds, which normally it's on like a 20+ second cooldown. So this is pretty big. I mean, this you have to be very, very careful of. I mean, this definitely helps like new players out a lot for Camille. So Camille attaches from the terrain and dashes in the direction, dealing physical damage to nearby enemies. It never used to be nearby enemies before. Never used to be nearby enemies. So the stun is the same, and the attack speeds is the same. It doesn't have the attack speed amount, but it's the same. So the attack speed and the stun is exactly the same. This is the interesting part though. What is this? Upon recasting hook shot, Camille's next basic attack against the enemy champion within 3 seconds grants bonus attack speed. Oh, so you get even more bonus attack speed. Holy shit, like this is just a Camille buff. What is it? If she hits an enemy champion, she stuns. Upon recasting hook shot, Camille's a basic attack against an enemy. So you get bonus attack speed from hitting a champion with hook shot, and then you also get bonus attack speed if you land a basic attack as well. What the bloody hell is going on with Camille? I mean, this is an insane buff to Camille. I mean, I'm interested to see how the first ability works. This is basically a buff. I mean, the healing is not too much anyway. I mean, yes, less sustain during the laner phase, but the damage output is absolutely disgusting now. Hook shot is an insane buff because you're not punished as much anymore for missing the first one. And also the actual, like, you know, hitting the hook shot with the recast now means that you do damage to nearby enemies on arrival. So you're basically dealing AoE damage. You're still stunning them. You're still getting bonus attack speed. But then also if you basic attack afterwards, you're also getting an attack. So even if you miss your hook shot, and you just auto attack afterwards, you're still getting that bonus attack speed anyway. I mean, I don't know. These are some crazy buffs to Camille. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. But hey, I will have to see how this goes. But this is some crazy rework for Camille. These are very, very interesting. I'm definitely going to have to give her a try and see how she works with the new changes. Very, very cool changes. All right. That was a long time I spent on just Camille, but that was some really interesting rework. Cool. All right, Corki. In order to improve the feel of Corki's phosphor bomb in late stages of the game and get him all spooled up. Okay, we're updating this ability so it scales with his attack speed. Interesting. So attack speed is going to be more important. So the only real attack speed items that you build on Corki is Solari Charge Blade, but then you also have the attack speed per level that you get with Corki as well, plus Solari Charge Blade, because it's normally like Storm Razor, i.e. Solari, Void Staff, and then whatever you want as your last item, normally like Essence Reaver. Actually, no, Storm Razor as well also gives you attack speed. So you do actually build quite a lot of attack speed for Corki. So I have to see how this changes things, to see like the difference between the early game and then the late game Corki as well, which is going to be very, very interesting. What we previously stated, this Blade Surge change was going live. It actually didn't make it into the patch. Oh. Fixing it for real this time, hopefully. Oh. They didn't. Okay, cool. Bug fix, I guess. I mean, I don't know if it was a bug. They just like forgot to hit the red button. They were like, guys, Irelia still following everyone. To be fair, I haven't played the game that much. I kind of took a break during December and I haven't played the game because I've been waiting for the new patch. So I haven't actually played against Irelia too much. But maybe people that actually played Irelia probably realized this a long time ago. It's kind of funny though, to be fair. Kha'Zix Taste of Fear. Kha'Zix is still at the top of the food chain in the jungles for reducing his single target damage, so we can give other junglers more chance to shine. Thank God for this. Cooldown reduction on isolated targets. I mean, wait, cooldown reduction. Isn't this the damage on isolated targets? I didn't. I think this is the damage. I thought this looks very familiar to the damage to isolated targets. I've got the game open as well, so I can keep an eye on stuff. Oh, wait, this is there's no, the only percentage. Okay, so this is not. Oh, I get it now. Oh, okay. So this is actually the evolved version. So the evolved version of the first ability, the cooldown reduction on isolated targets has gone down. Thank God I have the game open, because this is not clear at all. Okay, so this is basically, so this is nothing to do with the base ability. This is to do with the evolved version. So the evolved version, when you evolve, so the attacks and taste their fear, you gain range and you gain 45% of taste their fear's cooldown if refunded against isolated targets. So this is kind of wrong. This is the upgraded version. So cooldown reduction on isolated targets has now gone from 45% down to 30%. So they're not actually reducing the damage or anything. They're just reducing the cooldown of the first ability of Kha'Zix with the evolved version on isolated targets. So it's very, very specific with this nerf. So I don't actually think this nerf is going to mean too much to Kha'Zix. Yes, it will stop his single target damage by quite a lot. But I think that's just about it, to be fair. I think Kha'Zix will still be completely fine. I was expecting more of a nerf to Kha'Zix. I think he is insanely strong right now. Yeah. Oh, Kai'Sa changes. Okay. I'm reading these. These are looking very exciting. Base AD has gone up from 58 to 62, which is going to help her a lot in the early game, help her trade a lot in the early game as well. Attack damage per level has gone from 2.65 to 3, which means she gets an extra 5 AD at level 50, which doesn't really seem too much, but it's quite nice, I guess. Attack damage ratio on the Acathian Rain, which is the first ability, has gone from 45% to 50%, and the Void Seeker, the cast time, has also now scales with attack speed. So that's Corki and also Kai'Sa that scale with attack speed now with their poke abilities. Very, very interesting. So Void Seeker, attack speed. So with AP Kai'Sa now, this could be pretty good, because AP Kai'Sa builds Nash's Tooth with the attack speed, and you still try and go for the third level evolve anyway. So this could actually be really, really good for AP Kai'Sa as well at the same time. I mean, this is really good for AD Kai'Sa, because you go Hurricane, Storm Razor, Wit's End maybe if you really want to. Like, you build a lot of attack speed with Kai'Sa. So this is pretty nice buffs. I'm quite excited about this. I feel like her laning phase was definitely very, very weak. So then buffing her laning phase with the base AD, which is really nice. This is going to be absolutely disgusting, by the way, because you could just get double BF sword into the evolved version of the Acathian Rain. I'm not too sure if this also works on the evolved version. I'm guessing this is only the base version of the ability. If I'm not mistaken, the evolved version just gives more AD, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, maybe that is also on the evolved version as well. Not too sure if this also works on the evolved version, but anyway, it's a nice buff anyway. Really nice buff for laning phase. This will help her a lot during laning phase to clear the wave and also trade against enemy champions. This will help a lot as well. Scaling AD doesn't mean too much, but the Void Seeker, again, another thing I'm really excited to test with the Corki update as well, with the first ability. How is it? Oh my god, this goes down to 0.1 second. This goes down to 0.2. Wow, holy moly. Anyway, that is that. Okay, Lillia, expecting nerf here. She is getting nerfed. Health per level has gone down by a little bit. The base damage has also gone down on the first ability, but in the later stages of the game. So early jungle clear. Okay, jungle modification has also gone down as well. I was gonna say our jungle clear speed has stayed the same, but it hasn't. So jungle clear speed, the early game has got a little bit down. I guess they didn't nerf the base damage because they're nerfing the monster modification, the extra bonus damage that you get from hitting monsters with your first ability. But the late game damage has gone down by quite a lot. 15 damage on the first ability. You have to remember with Lillia that you're spamming on first ability a lot, especially during team fights, and it's on a very, very low cooldown. So this might seem like 15 damage might not seem like enough, but because you're using this ability over and over again during team fights, you could potentially lose like 30, 45, 60, 75. Like that damage will add up over time, which I think is pretty big. Yeah, interesting. Very, very interesting. This also makes it as well, if I'm not mistaken. This is also just the base damage. This doesn't work for the true damage, or I guess it's like additional damage on top. I just reread it, so it's additional damage on top. So this will also still affect the outer ring as well as the inner ring, because the outer ring is just additional true damage on top. The damage is not converted or anything into true damage. You don't get true damage instead of AP damage. It's additional damage on top of the base damage. So this will affect both the outer ring and the inner ring of Lillia's first ability, which I think is going to be quite interesting. Misfortune, interesting enough, getting buffed for increasing viability of ability powered builds by buffing the 8 ability power ratios associated with Make It Rain and her ultimate bullet time. AP Misfortune. Now, the only way I see AP Misfortune being a thing is if you go for support Misfortune. Now, support Misfortune was the thing in PC League where they built like kind of AP in a way where you went like Tear of the Goddess. You went like this crazy like build with like, but then that was saying that was like Black Cleaver and everything. That wasn't really an AP build. I was like Black Cleaver into Mortal Minder. I mean, it was still like an AD build with Misfortune. I'm not really too sure how we can fit an AP build with Misfortune, but maybe we'll have to think about something. Let me know if you could think of any Misfortune builds down in the comments. The AP ratio of Make It Rain has gone from 10% at all ranks, now 10, 12, 14, and 16. So now it's scaling based on level, and the same with the total ability power as well. So if you hit every single part of Make It Rain, it will now go from 80 up to 128%, which is quite nice. The ability power ratio of bullet time as well have gone from 25 to 30%, and that means the total AP ratio has also gone up to 480%. That's obviously if you hit a champion with all bullets of bullet time. So some interesting changes. I don't think AP Misfortune will be a thing. I think it's interesting that they're going for buffs to AP Misfortune. Like I said, maybe support Misfortune might be a thing, because Spectral Sickle I think is really good for Misfortune as well, because you can basically get 3 stacks with Make It Rain. Yeah, very, very interesting changes to Misfortune. Like I said, maybe support Misfortune, but then you have to kind of build AP items as well. So we'll have to see how that works out. Renekton. So Corki, the first ability is the cooldown's getting reduced from 8 seconds down to 7 seconds. And also the base heal is going up as well. So this helps Renekton a lot during the laning phase. Especially the base heal as well, because the heal is an interesting one, because you don't actually heal that much in Wild Rift, I've realized. Like if you compare the Corki, Renekton's ability from Wild Rift to PC League, the heal is definitely not that much. Yeah, so you know, buffing his laning phase is definitely more relevant for Renekton, because Renekton is known to be a bully during the laning phase. You know, Renekton's not known as like a scaling, you know, annoying bruiser. Renekton is known for like early learning game bullying and getting that early game advantage. Yeah, Renekton backs some of the lane sustain that he's missing, so I think it's quite nice. I mean, the cooldown going down by 1 second is also pretty nice as well. Yeah, pretty cool. Small changes, but nice changes, I think, overall. Samira, the Devils of Rose performing below our expectation across all levels of play. So they actually nerfed Samira a while ago, if I'm not mistaken. But they increasing the base damage of her first ability by quite a lot, actually. I mean, this ability is basically spammable. Which is quite interesting. This ability is spammable over and over again. Flare, if I'm not mistaken, is that the melee version or the range version? There's so many champions in this game now. I think it's just it's just a normal range. It's just a normal base damage on the first ability. So it's going up by quite a lot as well. I mean, like I said, this ability is spammable, very, very spammable. I mean, this will help Samira quite a bit in the laning phase, especially because this is the first ability that you max as well. This is going to help Samira out a lot during the laning phase. The problem with Samira at the moment is that her laning phase is super weak. You basically have to play super passive, stay under tower, and just hope you don't die and you get a few items. And then when you scale, get like 3 or 4 items, stack your passive, use your ultimate, then you become pretty much unkillable, and then you become really, really strong. But during the laning phase, she's probably one of, if not the weakest laning phase champions right now in the game. So interesting that they're buffing up Samira's first ability. I think that's going to be quite interesting to see how things work. Yeah, this is expected. This buff was way too ridiculous. Like, completely over the line. So Shen's jungle is getting nerfs. Bonus damage to monsters 200, now down to 150%, and that means the bonus damage cap has gone from 250% down to 225. This was expected. I mean, Shen jungle had like the fastest jungle clear of any jungle in the entire game. I mean, if you saw my video as well, you saw how powerful Shen jungle was. It was getting played in competitive quite a lot as well, not only here in Europe, but also in Asia as well. I saw in a WRL that Shen jungle also got played. So yeah, very, very interesting changes. Yeah, cool. Nice change though. I mean, Shen jungle was very, very broken. I mean, I don't know if this is going to be enough. But Shen jungle was pretty insanely broken. Shyvana, obviously Shyvana has fallen out to the meta quite a lot because of the way jungle works now. You can't just gain a lot of gold by fully clearing through the jungle. You have to make sure you gank. Whereas Shyvana is just like, Shyvana just wants to farm as much as possible, get as many stacks as possible. But because of the new conservation passive, in the jungle, you don't get a lot of benefits from just farming the jungle over and over again, because you're not going to get as much gold from it. Whereas like if you're against the ganking jungler, then you're probably going to get more gold from it. So yeah, the buffing Shyvana, no surprise really. Health per level going up, so making her a little bit tankier. The first ability has gone down by 0.5 seconds at every rank, and the evolved Twin Spike slow has gone up by 50%. So this buffs Shyvana a little bit. I don't think it's going to be too much. I think Shyvana has kind of fallen out the meta quite a lot ever since the new changes to the jungle. I mean, this buffs Shyvana because the way Shyvana works now is that her evolved abilities every 100 stacks is basically in order. So it goes first ability, second ability, third ability, and then ultimate. So once you get 100 stacks, you'll fill this buff of the evolved version, the slow, which is quite nice. And also this will help a lot in the late game as well, because with Shyvana you always want to jump in, you always want to stay within melee range, and the slow is quite nice, which means you can stay on top of the enemy champions and keep auto attacking over and over again, which I think is quite nice. Singed as well, interesting enough, is getting a change. Madcap is performing decently in lane, but his scaling isn't quite where we want it to be. So Poison Trail, the mana cost per second has gone from 15 seconds down to 12 seconds. So that means that it's going to cost more mana now, if I'm not mistaken, for Poison Trail. Wait, this doesn't make any sense, because this is mana cost per second, but then it doesn't actually show the mana cost. It shows the seconds. Hold on. I'm going to have to do this again. So what's the whole seconds thing? I mean, this is confusing as hell, because it says mana cost per second, but then it says 15 seconds down to 12 seconds. I don't know. This is confusing. If you know what it is, let me know. But this looks very, very confusing. Ability power, though, the ratio has gone from 30% up to 35%. So the more AP now, the more scaling you'll get with your first ability, which is really nice. And the ultimate as well, the mana and health recovery per second has gone up. See, this is what I was expecting. This is the mana recovery per second, and you have mana numbers and health numbers. This is mana cost per second. I mean, unless this is... No, but this can't be every... Oh, I see it now. Mana cost per second. Oh, I see what it is now. So this is not supposed to be seconds. This is supposed to be the mana cost. I was just looking at Singe to see what her where it says 15, and this is basically the mana cost. So now per second, instead of costing 15 mana, it's going to cost 12 mana now per second. So it's actually going to cost less mana now to use your ability, and it's also going to scale more. So this is just a pure buff to Poison Trail and a pure buff to the ultimate, which is quite nice. This shouldn't have an S here. This should just be 15 mana and then 12 mana. This shouldn't be in seconds, but hey, that's fine. Sion, right. Last time we looked at Sion, we had to say sayonara. Oh my god. To some of his unstoppable power. My god. I guess I'm gonna buff him. However, we'll be keeping an eye on him, and he could do with a hand. So we're targeting a few different areas where we think the certification of his kit could be improved. So passive, so the bonus health per lodge unit killed has gone from 15 up to 20. Okay, interesting. I mean, it's also kind of help jungle Sion a little bit, as well as laning phase Sion, which is quite nice. First ability, the minimum base damage. Oh my god, the minimum base damage in the early game has gone up quite a lot. The full charge damage, maximum damage has been unchanged. Okay, So this is basically when you want to use the first ability before it gets to that maximum charge. So the minimum base damage is like the minimum when you use the ability, and then when you like, you know, either move or you just cancel the ability early, which is going to get a lot more damage in the early game. But the later it goes, I mean, the same damage it gets. But this is quite nice for early game poking, which is kind of cool. The full charge damage is, you know, kept the exact same. And then the third ability, oh my god, the slow is going up by quite a lot as well. The slow is going up by 10. It was just going up by 10% at all ranks. So the slow on the third ability is going up by 10% at all ranks. So hitting your third ability is actually quite important now. 50% to 65% slow is pretty damn big. Then you have your first ability as well, which is also going to get a lot of damage in the early game. So hitting your slow now might mean that you pretty much, not always guaranteed, but normally what you do is you try and hit your third ability and then you combo that with your first ability afterwards to try and hit the full maximum damage with your first ability. So now it might actually be quite doable because it's gone up by 10% every single rank, which is quite interesting. Wow, very, very cool. Very, very nice bust to Sion. Again, a bust not only jungle Sion, but laning phase Sion as well. Especially the first ability and the slow as well, which I think is very important during the laning phase. ARAM changes, if you want to see these, you can have a look at these. ARAM changes doesn't really mean a lot to me. I mean, it means a lot in China because they play ARAM matches to decide on side selection, which is quite interesting. Ultra rapid fire changes as well. If you want to read them, you can do. If you want to, you know, skip through them and everything. One for all changes, even though one for all is not a thing anymore. Again, some more changes if you want to pause and read through them, but I won't be reading through them because they're not really that important and why we are doing this video. These are all one for all changes, late game respawn adjustment, Drake adjustments. I mean, these are all, that's all one for all. This doesn't matter. This is a one for all. Right. Gameplay changes. Okay, now we're on to items. So we got the new item, which is Dawn Shroud. Okay, so interesting enough. So this is going to be Spectre's Cowl plus Chainmail plus 700 gold. So this is going to cost 2,700 gold in total. Now, I always like to compare these items to like other strong items at the moment. Now, I think Dawn Shroud might actually be a really, really good support item on supports like Thresh, Nautilus, and Leona. Now, with them champions, most of the time you want to build Dead Man's Plate as a first item or Ecstatic Seed Jar. So this is 2,700, which is actually quite cheap. If you compare it to Dead Man's Plate at the moment is 2,800. So actually, you get, what the hell is this? I've just realized something. So this costs the exact same amount of gold as Dead Man's Plate. It has the exact same amount of health, the exact same amount of armor, but now you get 30 magic resists. So really the only benefit now that you're, so Dead Man's Plate costs the same amount, but Dead Man's Plate gives you that extra movement speed to rotate around the map, to roam around the map quicker. The benefit that Dawn Shroud gets is that you get magic resist and you also get this new passive as well. So when you immobilize a champion or are immobilized, damage and reveal all enemy champions for 3 seconds, dealing 80 plus a percentage of your bonus health as magic damage for a few seconds. So immobilize the champion or are immobilized, damage and reveal all. Wait, so you damage and reveal all nearby enemy champions. So is this AoE damage? So this is, okay, this is crazy. So this is AoE damage, but at the same time, this is also AoE damage and you reveal all nearby enemy champions. Okay, you know what I'm thinking with this item? Say, for example, if like a Kha'Zix is trying to flank you from behind, or like a Rakan is trying to flank you from behind. If you get CC'd by like, I don't know, like a Lillia or something like that, does it reveal all champions, all enemy champions around the enemy champion that used the ability, or is that around yourself? Because this could be a really strong item to just reveal all enemies around you. So like if there's like an Evelyn nearby that's trying to flank you or something, if immobilizing a champion reveals enemies around you, that means you could see a Kali. That means you can see Evelyn. So this, I think this item is going to be insane. You want to know another insane thing as well about Dawn Shroud? Is that the bonus damage is now based off the percentage of bonus health. What does supports like building? Ecstatic Seed Jar, Warmog's Armor, What do they have? A shit ton of bonus HP. And the crazy thing is as well is you can actually go Dawn Shroud into Warmogs, and that will give you enough HP to get the Warmogs passive. So I honestly think this is first item worthy. I'm not even kidding. I actually think this is first item worthy. The components are not the best, I'll be totally honest with you, because I mean they're okay components. Spectre's Cowl gives you a little bit of HP. It doesn't give you a lot. It gives you like 175 HP and 20 magic resist, which is like okay. It also gives you magic regen as well. I mean, it's actually, health regen as well. So it's actually okay. Chainmail just gives you armor, and that's just about it. So the components are actually not too bad. I mean, this honestly, I think will be first item worthy for tank supports. I mean, we'll have to test it out, but I honestly think this is going to be first item worthy. This is going to be absolutely insane, this item, especially when you're mobilized. You deal extra damage based on your bonus health. I mean, supports already do quite a lot of damage in my opinion. This is just going to make them do even more damage. So I'm really excited to see how Dawn Shrouds affects the meta in the support role. Right, Randuin's Omen, which is getting a pretty much a complete remake. So as far as I'm aware, this is all unchanged. Build path is all unchanged. It's still Warden's Mail, it's still Giant's Belt, it's still 750 gold, it still costs 2,800 gold in total. The base stats are also unchanged, so it's still 400 health and still 55 armor. I think this is where things get changed. So now you get the Cold Steel passive, which reduces the attack speed of nearby enemies by 15% for 1.5 seconds when struck by an attack, which reduces attack speed for enemies by 15% for 1.5 seconds when struck by attack. So this is also unchanged. So now you have the Determination passive, which is the new one. So when you are critically struck, you gain 12% for melee, 8% for range of the pre-mitigation damage taken as charges of Determination for 5 seconds. Up to a maximum of 500. What the fuck? 500 charges. When you attack a champion, you could assume a Determination to heal for the amount consumed. Okay, so before it was you just reduced the damage by critical strikes by 15%, but now you just gain stacks of Determination for 5 seconds up to a max of 500 charges, and then when you struck an enemy, you can assume the Determination to heal for the amount consumed. Huh, interesting. Okay. I mean, cool. This is really, really interesting. Please note there is a localization bug in this game for this item. The status description mentioned in the patch notes is accurate, and localization bug will be fixed in an upcoming patch. Okay, this just means that there's a bug with like how it visually looks on the actual game. This is interesting. I'm not too sure how good this item's going to be. I mean, again, it's good for tanks. I'm trying to think of like auto attack champions that might work well with this. Maybe it works well with like someone like Camille or Bruisers in a way, because I mean, yes, it's a full tank item, but at the same time you still build some tank items on Bruisers as well. And the thing is that tanks don't really auto attack that much. I mean, yes, they auto attack, like Malphite for example. You auto attack a little bit, but you don't auto attack that much. And again, this is still an item that only benefits if you're against a lot of crit chance. If you're not against a lot of crit chance, then the item's not really too great. So yeah, that's that basically. So basically, don't build this item if you're not against any crit. But if you're against a lot of crit, like Yasuo, Yone, and AD carry that builds crit, this is definitely worth going. Like Graves Jungle, someone like that as well. Right, reworked Frozen Heart now is the next one. So it still costs the same amount, 2,700 gold. It's still built from Warden's Mail and Glacial Shroud, which is still exactly the same. The base stats, so now it gives 10 more armor. It gives 100 less mana and 5 less ability haste. Okay, so they buff the armor, but they've nerfed the mana and the ability haste. I mean, 80 armor is a shit ton of armor, actually. Holy moly. So you have the Winter Caress passive, which is the same as here. But so before, it was reduced the attack speed of nearby enemies by 20%. But now, basic attacks and magic damage causes you or inflicted upon you will apply stacks of chill to the enemy champions for a few seconds. Each stack of chill slows enemy champions attack speed by 9% up to a maximum of 4 stacks or 36% attack speed reduction. What the bloody hell? Each individual ability has a 1 second cooldown on applying Winter's Caress per target. Holy moly, this sounds busted. This sounds insanely strong. I mean, you could get up to 36% attack speed slow. Basic attacks and magic damage caused by you or inflicted upon you. So this is also inflicted upon you as well. So when enemy champions hit you with basic attacks or abilities, or when you hit them with basic attack and abilities, you chill them, slowing their attack speed, which also stacks up to max of 4 times. This is crazy. So this basically means if you auto attack an enemy champion, and if they auto attack you back, okay, so for example, like a Caitlyn. Say, for example, it's a typical Caitlyn versus Malphite situation. So Malphite ultis in, hits the Caitlyn. That's 1 stack. Caitlyn looks to try and escape, nets away. That's 2 stacks. Malphite gets an auto attack in before Caitlyn nets away. That's 3 stacks. Caitlyn auto attacks. That's 4 stacks. That's your maximum stack straight there. And then her attack speed is going to be slowed by 36 fucking percent. 36%. I mean, each individual ability has a 1 second cooldown. I'm not too sure if this means that when you use one ability, the next ability, you have to wait 1 second for it to apply, or it just means each individual ability. I mean, I think it means that each individual ability has a 1 second cooldown. It means you can't spam an ability over and over again. Like, I don't know, Lillia or someone like that. You could just keep spamming them over and over again and stacking the slow. I think this is going to be a crazy, crazy buff and a crazy, crazy change to Frozen Heart. This honestly might just be insanely strong. Imagine something like this on, like, I don't know, even Rakan or someone like that as well. Like, hit with the ultimate, 1 stack. Hit with the first ability, 2 stacks. Hit with the, like, you could combo so many things with Frozen Heart and just stack attack speed. And then basically, that champion cannot play Wild Rift. That champion could not play the game. You might as well just delete the game at that point. Anyway, moving on. I'm talking too much about these items. We're already at 46 minutes. Holy moly. I'm talking way too much. Anyway, there's a lot of changes. Cosmic Drive getting a buff. Total cost has gone from 2,900 to 2,800. The ability power has gone up from 70 up to 75. I think this is expected. I don't think Cosmic Drive has kind of hit that niche that Wild Rift wanted. So comparing it to other like AP items now. So, I mean, 2,800 is quite cheap. It's one of the cheapest AP items now. Going down to 2,800, and 75 AP is also quite a lot as well. That's only 10 less than Luden's Echo, and 2,800 gold is quite cheap. So maybe this finds its way into into a build, or so I think this is pretty good for like some champions. It could be used on like Lillia, Kennen, champions like to move a lot. Gragas as well with Cosmic Drive is also not too bad. Yeah, so it's quite interesting. Lord Dominik's Regards getting a nerf. I mean, yeah, the item's busted. This item is insane, like so much better than Mortal Reminder. I mean, they're buffing Mortal Reminder, but this is so much better than Mortal Reminder. It's not even close. Like, you gain crit, AD, and armor pen for 3,100 gold, and it's way too cost efficient. I mean, even 3,200 gold is still cost efficient. Life Morellonomicon has been incorrectly given 75 ability power when it was intended to be 70, and it could also use a small nerf. So we're going to move it back to its intended value. Okay, bug fix / nerf to Morellonomicon, which is quite interesting. I think Morellonomicon is a bit of an interesting one because it gives a lot of AP. At the same time, it doesn't give any health anymore, so it's a very burst heavy item, but it's still good because it applies the anti-heal, so it's still pretty good. Mortal Reminder getting buffed. Again, I don't think this item never really gets used, to be fair. I think there's only certain champions that you can use this on. Yeah, other than that, I don't think it's... I think Lord Dominik's Regards is still 20 times better than Mortal Reminder, even if it costs 200 gold less now. I still think it's a lot better. I would rather spend 200 extra gold and then flex my last item so I don't have to build a crit item, go full glass cannon, rather than go Mortal Reminder. I mean, even if you just like compare the stats as well. I mean, Mortal Reminder gives you 45 AD, which thereabouts is pretty good, but for 10 less AD with Lord Dominik's Regards, you get 35 AD. You then get 25% crit chance, and obviously the scaling armor pen is better, and also you get the extra attack speed as well from Lord Dominik's Regards. So I think Lord Dominik's Regards is still going to be the better option. Spirit Visage. Adding shields to Spirit Visage passive is straightforward buff and could also increase its synergy with many more abilities. What the hell? Increases heals on yourself by 30. Okay, no joke. if you play Vayne Lulu, Xayah Lulu, anything like that, and you're against a lot of AP targets, just build Spirit Visage. Like, this is going to increase Lulu shields. This is going to increase Lulu shields. What? I mean, even if you have a lot of shielding on your team, if you have a Janna on your team, I mean, obviously Nami worked before anyway, and Soraka worked before. I mean, any other champion that can shield you, like this item is going to be crazy now, because now it works on the shields also. I mean, I'm trying to think of other champions that give you shields. You know, Malphite shielding will be increased. Does this work on Bloodthirster now as well? That could be interesting. I wonder if this works with Bloodthirster shield, because if this works with Bloodthirster shield, that could also be a very, very good synergy. Bloodthirster plus Spirit Visage to give you more shielding on the Bloodthirster passive. Wow, there's a lot of things we have to test with Spirit Visage. This is very, very interesting. I'm very excited to give this a try actually on AD carries. It means I won't get one shot by an Evelyn or by a Katarina or someone like that, or maybe even a Lillia. So this is very interesting. Yeah, increases shields means that it can get used on a lot more champions, which is quite nice. Right, moving on to runes. Pathfinder, this rune still sucks. I've said this over and over again. Bonus move speed in the river goes up to 30 now, and you get an extra 20 when you're after leaving combat. This rune sticks. I just don't see the benefit when you have Nimbus Cloak and when you have Hunter Genius in the same tree. I mean, it's just not viable. Unfortunately, this is just not viable. This is not viable. I mean, even with the bonus movement speeds, like the extra bonus movement speed that they're giving, I still don't think it's viable. Right, Phase Rush. Phase Rush is getting a little bit of a nerf, it seems like. So instead of the ability haste granting working on all abilities, it now only works on basic abilities, but now it grants you 25 ability haste. That means when you use your abilities after you proc Phase Rush, that they're going to go on a shorter cooldown, which basically means this is going more towards, don't use your ultimate before Phase Rush, use your ultimate after you proc Phase Rush, because you're not going to get the cooldown before you use your ultimate. You know, when you use your ultimate for the Phase Rush proc, you're now going to get the extra benefit after using it for your ultimate. So that's basically the change that's happening to Phase Rush. But I still think the rune is quite okay. I still think the rune is pretty damn good. Okay, and then the system changes. Oh, there's a lot of things. System changes. So champion damage versus structures. Previously, any situation in which a champion gets both bonus attack damage and ability power results them in losing value of the lower stat when hit instructions. This is because of a specific rule involved in structure damage calculation. We're changing the way that offensive stats interact with structures so that hybrid builds and situational involving dual stats or bonuses no longer punish you from having bonus AD or ability power. So you deal base attack damage plus the highest value between 100%, deal base damage plus 100% bonus attack damage plus 50%. Ah, okay. So when you're building AD and AP for hybrid builds, you now deal more damage to towers. Interesting. So deal base attack damage plus 100% of your bonus attack damage and plus 50% ability power unchanged. If 50% of the ability power is greater than 100% of the bonus attack damage, attacks are converted to magic damage instead. Okay, interesting. Cool. I mean, buff to taking towers, I guess, in a way. I mean, I'm trying to think of like champions that build hybrid. I don't think there's a lot of champions in the game really that build hybrids, to be honest with you. Maybe someone like Ashe, maybe that goes like Ashe support, maybe builds like hybrid with some AP items. But yeah, I mean, that's a very interesting change. No bug fixes, which means no changes to Jhin and bug fixes, which I'm kind of sad about. But hey ho, that is it. 55 minutes of this patch notes. It was a big patch notes, to be fair. I'm quite excited for patch 4.0. Like I said, I've kind of taken a break from Wild Rift because the game just kind of stale a little bit because it's been on the same patch for such a long time. But new rank season next week, new champion releasing in a couple of days, new gacha releasing in a couple of days. There's so much content in the next couple of days. I'm really excited to finally get into it, finally start grinding some more Wild Rift. So I'm excited. Hopefully you are as well. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe for more Wild Rift content. Until next time, enjoy the new patch, and I'll see you all in the next Wild Rift video. Peace.